Cars on the grid and heading out to the pit lane. Another 3 minutes to clear the pits. Ria Michigami's damaged Honda makes its way towards pit exit, as everybody else, their tyre trolleys, their mechanics, their compressors and air jacks head out as well. Cars have to leave the grid before the pit lane closes, or they'll be forced to start from the pit lane. You can do more work on the grid though, there is time. And you wonder why they're queuing up here. Good morning everybody, good afternoon, wherever you are joining us. This is the only place you're allowed to do a practice start, a designated area in pit exit, and that's what they're doing now. Esteban Guerreri there, trying to get the final feel for the biting point of the clutch, where the revs need to be to get a wheel spin free start, or at least as good a one as you can, and then rushing down towards the first corner. This really hard right, it's almost, if this was in the notes in a rally, this would be 90 right, 90 left, and it's almost proper hairpin territory. You want a handbrake on there, Matt Neal.
Yeah, I mean, it is a horrible corner, or a horrible sequence of corners, but it works, you know, and there's talk of removing it and going straight from the Parabolica down the start-finish straight into the Curva Grande, which would be, and then bringing
a chicane in
Rogier,
just where we've just crossed, which is
from the Rogier. So and that would be pretty make it Curva Grande a bit of a scary corner again, but that's what drivers want.
Well, it'll be a little bit like the Dunlop curve at Le Mans, where you're sweeping through this fast right-hander, and then, you know, from almost absolute maximum speed, hard on the brakes into a sharp left-right at the Dunlop chicane. Here, it would be a sharp right-left. You can't go left, there's a river outside the wall.
You'd be going into a Curva Grande at over 165 mile an hour in one of these.
In one of these. Imagine the speed of Grand Prix cars going.
Exactly, Martin. That's just what I was about to say.
Exactly right. Well, of course, in the old days, the first chicane wasn't there, the Rogier wasn't there, so they'd have gone up to the Lesmo without braking since the Parabolica. And then the Variante Ascari was the first the chicanes introduced, but the old track that went straight through is still on the right. We're joining it here.
Well, you go back, Martin, the old Silverstone, average speed, Nigel Mansell's qualifying lap, average was 165 miles.
Gecky Rosberg's, Williams FWA Cosworth, and it was drizzling. And I was hanging on the scaffolding at Abbey, watching him. He went wide out of stow, kicked up the dust and the dirt, and it was spitting with rain. Yeah, 160 mile an hour.
That's what these old circuits produce. Yep. They produce memories like that, not the designer circuits that get built these days, which I know that safety is a thing, but these work still.
It was only a few years ago that Juan Pablo Montoya's fastest ever race time around here was finally beaten. Monza, one of the great racetracks of history, built in 1930 in a record time of only 3 months. 30,000 people constructed this magnificent 10-kilometre circuit. 10-kilometre, Martin, what are you talking about? Well, the road course and the whole banked oval, which is the size of Indianapolis, were built as one long 10-kilometre course. Here's our grid. We won't be using the banking. Ted Bjork ahead of Thiago Monteiro, the championship leader. Rob Huff and Nicky Katzberg, Citroën and Volvo on row 2. Nestor Girolami damaged and out of race 1. He'll start 5th with Norbert Mikulec, who got knocked out of a battle for the lead in race 1 in 6th position. Tom Chilton, our opening race winner, starts 7th ahead of Esteban Guerrieri. Mehdi Benani in 9th, and Tom Coronel was pole for race 1, stalled, still came back to finish in the top half dozen. Damage for Ria Michigami, Jan Erlache had a penalty. John Philippi, Kevin Gleeson, a point scorer in his first ever World Touring Car start ahead of Daniel Nagy and Aurelien Panis, whose car had to be taken out of Parc Fermé to get it running. We saw that it has joined the grid. He was pushed off the grid with an oil leak before the start of the opening race. Hopefully he will get a chance to go in the main race here. So we've lit the blue touch paper. Time now to strap yourself firmly in. An early stop strategy that looked like Nesta Girolami legging it over for a little bit of a comfort break. Portuguese flag denoting the presence of Thiago Monteiro on the grid. He lines up second, outside front row start for our points leader, 18 ahead of race 1 winner Tom Chilton, who moves up to a very strong second in the championship. Chilton also now leading the Independence Trophy. So Tom Chilton having a very good race 1. And now, Matt Neal, whatever he got out of race 1, anything in race 2, Brucey bonus.
Everything's a winner from now on. I mean, Chilton, he'd almost want to go home now. With
Oh,
the car rolling one piece.
Because there's more points in race 2
there's more
up for
points.
grabs.
And joke apart, Martin, he's second in the championship now.
And even if he finishes where he starts, which is 7th, still more points. Added to the 25 he got for winning the first race. You know, it's
okay, it's unlikely he's going to be second coming away from the meeting. Now Bjorg's up there, you know, in pole position, and he's not far behind him on points. So, but it still keeps him very much in the championship hunt.
Absolutely, and he is the best placed of the independents, ahead of Mehdi Benani. Benani starts behind him on the grid, ahead of Esteban Guerrieri, behind him on the grid.
And Martin, you know, what we mustn't forget is the Citroen is carrying more weight than all the others, the Hondas, the Volvos, everyone, who will gain weight after this meeting.
Exactly.
So
right.
the Citroen might stay the same, but you can't work it out because it's all done by some very complicated calculations, but they are going to gain a lot of weight, probably to the same weight as the Citroen.
This is the car of Aurélien Panis, run by Zengo Motorsport. Made his debut 3 weeks ago in Marrakesh, Morocco. And he scored points on his debut. Didn't finish race 2. Car broke on him. It's the other way round here. Car broke on him before the start of race 1. The guys noticed there was an oil leak. And now hopefully he'll be able to get the race underway in the second encounter. Alongside him is the other grey and lime green Honda, the other Zengo machine, and that is Daniel Nagy. Norbert Nagy, no relation, had some very entertaining racing in the European Touring Car Championship, also for Zengo Motorsport, but that was in a Seat Leon. And Daniel will start in 15th place on the grid. Aurélien Panis should have been a little further forward, but the car needed work that required it to be taken out of Parc Fermé between the end of race 1 and beginning of race 2. And so they have taken a penalty, gone to the back of the grid. Long while since we've had a US driver in the World Touring Car Championship. Rob Holland, the only man to have started races in the World Touring Car Championship. That was back in Sonoma a few years ago. But Kevin Gleeson, who is associated with the championship through his friendship with Rob Huff. They've raced together in endurance racing, Nürburgring 24, Thunderhill 25, and you can see the logos on the side of a lot of the cars here. Billy Whiz, that hashtag, and for those of you who don't know, 17-year-old single-seater driver Billy Munger, injured in a very nasty crash in Donington Park a week ago today. Fundraising just giving page for him, and also for Craig Walker, a club racer who was left paralysed in an accident on Bank Holiday Monday. Please give to those if you can. One of 2 Argentines on the grid, Esteban Guerrieri, predominantly a single-seater racer. Hasn't had an awful lot of touring car experience. Made his debut in a World Touring Car Championship last year. And is back with Campos Racing for a full season attack in one of the RML-built Chevrolets, Chevy Cruze. And still a competitive weapon, Matt. He was in a podium position until the final couple of laps, when finally Ted Björk got by him at the line for 4th, but Thiago Monteiro just got by him a couple of laps earlier for 3rd place. But it has to be the very best of the latest factory machinery to get past you if you're a Chevy driver.
Well, he has been working well. He's been really wringing its neck, hasn't he? He's been, you know, and he came away with a monumental result for Campos at Marrakesh. And, you know, I didn't really hold out much hope for him here, but then he absolutely fought with the best in race 1.
Practice, he was nowhere. I mean, absolutely nowhere. Then we heard he was betting in tyres, betting in brakes, and so on and so on and so on. He does seem to play the long game well.
Yeah, the Argentinian TC2000 is a tough proving ground for drivers, and their handicapping system for going for the championship is pretty brutal as well. The way they shuffle them back in the grid and they make them work for it. So You know, and the quick Argentinians we've got here, Girolami, Pachito, Guerrero, they've all come through that level.
So after the first race, the gap between the manufacturers is back down to 2 points. After Mach 3 yesterday, Volvo had eased away to 6 points in front and is now back down to 2 points. There is Nesta Girolami, multiple TC2000 champion. As you say, if you're the championship leader, you get a, count this, 16 place. It's almost like being a McLaren Honda driver. A 16 place grid penalty. So if you qualify fastest, despite all the weight, you then start 17th. Now that's how
they
have lots of different winners.
Yeah, but they don't get a weight penalty down there, Martin. So,
all right, so you get a time.
So they can have a fast car.
Well, there are two ways of doing it. If you have pit stops, then you make the pit stop longer, but you don't affect the handling and the balance of the car by throwing weight at it. Of course, their way is to stick you way down in the midfield.
Something you can just see on the little stickers on the bonnet lines here. They're the FIA stickers for when the car goes to Parc Fermé in between races. So what they do is the scrutiny is they seal all the gaps, the doors, the windows, the bonnets. There you go. So that's they know if those are broken, they know someone's been inside. If
those are broken, back of the grid you go.
That's the back of the grid.
Oh, we didn't mean to. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Does not matter. You're out.
Even if a rogue TV man's accidentally opened them or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. So, cars being fired up then. All down on the ground. Tyres on the ground at the 5-minute mark. Otherwise, you have a penalty.
Huffy's time to get his championship back on the go, really. He had a strong result, a good podium, very strong podium. Could have been a win, but it wasn't. It was next best, which was second step on the podium, and now he's starting third place. So he's going to have his work cut out hanging on to Bjork and Montero, but I think he's up for the job.
Well, listen, if he makes a good start, he can get between them possibly, or right up with them into the first corner, and then he does what he does with Tom Chilton for a few laps, sits in the slipstream, sees what they're up to, figures out who is going to be the one to follow when they inevitably fan out one beside the other, and then you basically, you roll the dice, don't you?
Yeah.
And then you have a lunch.
Huffy's problem is he's the lone car, Citroen, in a swarm of top 6, which are all Hondas and Volvos, all factory Hondas, all factory Volvos. And whether they gang up on him, because they're all out for themselves, but they will be working as a team to see if they can shuffle him out and down. So, and Chilton's on the back end of that top 6. He's lying in 7th for this one. He's got a race win under his belt. He proved he can do it. So he's just got to sit tight, see how good a start he can make, and see, watch the race unfold in front of him and see if he can be opportunistic.
Exactly right. So tyre trolleys are being wheeled away from the grid. Engines are running. Blue of the Volvo. Lots and lots of fans here and guests here for Polestar Racing and Volvo. Polestar Sign Racing. And you'll see lots of them in the team shirts, black at the bottom with a blue stripe and the white top. Loads and loads of them around. Plenty of Ferrari colours as well, as you might perhaps expect from a crowd here at Monza. Just as we were coming back through the underpass, there was a couple of English fans going the other way, going, where are we going to go and watch the start then? I thought, excellent. That's what come for a weekend to Monza, not trying to fight the millions in the Grand Prix and paying, hundreds and hundreds to get in, but come to the World Touring Car Championship and have a great view of some very close racing. And race one was an absolute barnstormer. Confirmation of our grid. DHL pole sitter for the main race here in Italy is Ted Bjork's Volvo ahead of points leader Thiago Montero. Rob Huff starts third. 3 different manufacturers' cars in the top 3. Nicky Katzberg and Nesta Girolami mean 3 Volvos in the top 5. That's how it was in Q3. Norbert Michaelis starts 6th ahead of race 1 winner Tom Chilton and Esteban Guerrieri. Mehdi Benani and Tom Coronel were on the front row for the first race. Neither finished on the podium. They will start 9th and 10th. Rio Michigami and Jan Elache start 11th and 12th. John Philippi and new boy Kevin Gleeson 13th and 14th. Daniel Nudge 15th. And Aurelian Panis with his grid penalty will be our 16th and final starter for the main race here in Italy. Ted Bjork, we gather from Tiago Montero's radio traffic from his engineer. Ted Bjork, the pole sitter, on scrubbed tyres, used tyres. Rob Huff, in third place on the grid, would appear to be on new rubber. And that might be a reason, Matt Neal, why he couldn't get by Tom Chilton in race 1.
Maybe that's a different strategy. That could bite him. It's going to give him a lot more performance early to mid-race, but it could bite him as the tyres fall off a cliff for him later on.
Well, if you're going to keep a set of tyres and you're going to start 8th in race 1 and 3rd in race 2, you're not going to use them in race 1, are you?
Yeah, but heat cycling them will make them harder, so they'll be stronger towards the end of the race, but you won't have that ultimate performance of fresh rubber.
Esteban Guerrieri just getting away from the grid before the safety car. Like Tom Coronel, he appeared to stall at the start from the dummy grid. Now, hopefully he won't stall for the main start, because he's 8th, and that's right in the middle of the grid. Coronel stalled from pole, and
we couldn't have anyone going either side of him to avoid him, because they...
No, have the accident. Don't go over a white line. That's absolutely a cardinal sin. Well, Mehdi Benani, last year's Yokohama points champion, in 7th place in the overall championship standings. The T there means they're in the WTCC trophy for the independents. Mehdi Benani, last year's champion, with Sebastian Loeb Racing and Citroën. Tom Chilton leading the standings for the Indies this year. Claimed top points in the opening race, because of course not only did he win the independents, he won the race outright. Volvo 2 points ahead of Honda coming into this race. 2 cars score, so although only one Castrol Honda finished, Tiago Montero's, the other Hondas, Zengo Motorsport cars, also can score points if they finish ahead of manufacturer cars. So Honda still had point-scoring cars. Our Drivers' Championship in the WCC Trophy. Chilton leads Guerrieri, Benani and Coronel tied with Huff. A 3-way split there, and Huff with the best opportunity now to really light a fire under his overall championship challenge, but also to move up in the end. He won't care about the independents. What he will really care about is lighting the afterburners and trying to catch Tiago Montero and the other men who are ahead of him in the championship stand.
Yeah, never mind the all-in-call black livery, but Huffy could be our real dark horse in this.
Oh, very good. I see what you did there. Nice. Ted Bjork then weaving down the Rectipilio. And there is Tom Coronel coming through the familiar yellow and red colours. 10th place on the grid, ahead of Rio Michigami, Yann Lachey. Red, white and blue on RC Motorsport works for El Haché, that's the French colours. Oh, and it also works for Kevin Gleeson. Red, white and blue on the stars and bars of Old Glory, the American flag. So that ties in very nicely. So now who else could they get? You've got to have a car, you've got to have a driver who's got red, white and blue in his national colours. Could be a Brit, that would work. They've got cars. They had 3 cars last year. There are definitely at least 3 cars.
You're looking at me in a funny way, Martin.
No, I'm not. I'm just wondering where else it could come from. Trying to think what other red, white and blue, and lots of other red, white and blue cars. Don't bother writing, or I'm not looking.
El Haché is committed for the season. I think Gleeson is the European round, so there could still be an opportunity for someone in the...
Well, there's still another car, at least one other car. They ran 3 last year, so they're open for business. Get in touch with RC Motorsport. There's nothing wrong with the Lada. It won races last year. It was very quick last year. It can be very quick again this year. Everybody lining up in their grid spots. Stewards have been very, very pernickety about that. Tom Chilton's a little far back. Is Norbert Mikulits a little far forward?
Mikulits is far forward, and Bjork is way over his
Ted
box.
Bjork is out of the... Yes, Ted Bjork, the pole man, is ahead of his... That's going to be a penalty. Was in the European Touring cars. He's got to make a good start now. He's got to bolt away from the field. Red lights are on. Main race in Italy. Round 4 of the series. Away we go. Good start from Rob Huff. Look at the traction he's got. Look at the traction Rob Huff has got. Montero has got away, but Huff is coming inside the Volvo. And immediately Ted Bjork goes right across to the white line and shuts the door. And look at the blue seam down the middle. The thick blue line it is. Bjork into second. Huff is third with Katzberg underneath him. his former teammate at Lada. Well, almost. Bit of an overlap there. Through goes Thiago Monteiro into the lead, and the Honda, can he pony up and show everybody else a clean pair of heels?
Well, they always used to say Gabriele Tarquini was the masterclass starter, but that was Monteiro's taken off exactly where Gabriele left off, and he's just on the top of his game at the moment.
61, Nesta Girolami, the second of the Volvos there, leading that shot, going squirrely into the Roger. We're on board with Tom Chilton following Mehdi Benani. All sorts of arms and elbows. You see Esteban Guerrieri, we're on board with him. That's Jan Erlaché in front, the Lada squirreling across the line. And then here comes Thiago Monteiro, Ted Björk in second, Rob Huff in third. I'm not going to predict any penalties because they've been tossed around like confetti this weekend by the stewards. Don't know what's going on. So we will concentrate on the racing and deal with what happens when it happens. And at the moment, Thiago Monteiro, dream start, but Matt, 11 laps here, and he's in the worst position. He's towing all his rivals along every straight.
Yeah, Monteiro, he's got the pack hungry behind him, hasn't he? It depends how he can get that Civic to punch through the air, but Bjorg all weekend he's been absolutely on top form. So, you know, he was really hungry in race one, but he just couldn't find a way past Monteiro. But
Monteiro's drive off the corner there, leaving Björk behind him. Girolami, even in the slipstream, unable to close on Michelitz for 5th and 6th. Norby up to 5th, Nesta Girolami down to 6th, Benani and Chilton 7th and 8th. And there is Michelitz going defensive on the inside. Girolami sends it long down the outside, not enough overlap, can't get through. They remain 5th and 6th. Monteiro, Björk, Huff, your top three. Nicky Katzberg, the second of the Volvos. So Volvo 2, 4, 6 at the moment.
Those Volvos can't pull an inch on the Hondas down the straight. I mean, those Hondas have got monumental amount of squirt now.
Coronel side by side with Rio Michigami. Michigami's lost 3 spots. No, he hasn't. Jan Erlaché has gained 3 spots.
This is Michigami coming back at Coronel.
And there he is on board Tom's roof. Hang on to the roof rack. Bump, bump over the sausage curbs. You heard the wheel spin. Where's the next attack coming from? Well, right behind him is 27 John Philippi, and Aurelian Panis having a little look into Lesmo 1. Crikey. No, I don't think that was a serious look. I think he was just showing his nose. Jan Erlaché again behind Esteban Guerrieri in the first of the white Ladas. What a start he's had. He's moved up 4 spots off the grid. I'm
looking at the timing screens, Martin, and Monteiro keeps on setting fastest sector, but then Bjorg is right on his tail again.
Well, Bjorg fastest in sector 2, which is from the Roggia down basically to the braking area for Ascari. And that's the way that it was in qualifying. And then, look at Björk, got a great run out of Ascari, and he's got the slipstream behind him. They're hanging Monteiro out to try. Thiago deep on the inside. Björk sweeps around. That was a good pass from Ted Björk, and that was all going into Ascari.
But the Honda's got the slipstream now.
Yeah, didn't see how sideways Monteiro got, but it would have been a little moment in Ascari that cost him the lead. Here he comes, he's being hoovered up behind, look at that, he's vanished now behind the silhouette of the Volvo, using the Volvo to punch the hole in the air, save a bit of engine power for top speed, can't get round. The battle is definitely alive, isn't it? Rob Huff third, staying ahead of Nicky Katzberg, Norbert Michelitz and Nesta Girolami.
Wow, one slip up from these lead two, and Huffy and Katzberg are going to be there to pounce.
Benani 7th, Chilton 8th. And there is Guerrieri and Erlaché rounding out the top 10. 11th is Tom Coronel ahead of John Philippi. I think Tom had his best tyres on for race 1 as well. May not have an awful lot to play with in race 2.
If I was Monteiro, I'd be thinking, come on, Norby, pull your finger out, get up here, I need some help.
Well, now with Monteiro in second place, he's getting a tow down the straights off Ted Björk, but also having Rob Huff right behind him and then the rest of the queue, that's helping to make Monteiro a little quicker as well.
Monteiro just looks slow out of Lesmo too.
Yeah.
He just gets a little bit, scrubs a bit of speed, but look at it go down the straights.
Yeah, pulls away nicely, doesn't it?
Okay, the Citroen is carrying more weight. The Citroen is carrying more weight, and that does cost straight line speed.
Huffy really squirming under braking, but he's all over the back of Monteiro. Again, acceleration. Think of your road car versus a van. The heavier van takes longer to slow down, longer to speed up, and isn't as nimble in the corners. The Huff Sport Garage watching with interest. Huff in third place in the black car, the blue behind him. That is Nicky Katzberg's Volvo. They are easing away from Norbert Mikulits and Nesta Girolami. With Coronel chasing him for 11th is John Filippi. His Oscaro sponsor is the title sponsor of the race here in Italy.
Yeah, Katzberg shadowing Huff now.
Ooh, Katzberg trying to have a look around the outside. Big lock-up from Huffy. Got to get it back under control. All you've got to do, I mean, this is, you know, motorcycle racing block pass. All you've got to do is get it turned in there somehow. Nobody can drive around you.
You can see just how flimsy that bonnet line is. You know, some of the bodywork on these are almost like paper.
Fantastic. Yeah, the non-stress parts. Ryo Michigami's engine problems clearly were not over after race one. He is back in the pits. Torrid weekend for the Japanese driver. Coronel versus Filippi. Filippi went round the outside and cut the chicane.
I wouldn't say that's Coronel's fault.
No, Filippi was going round the outside of him. And so Filippi then eases off and allows Coronel back in front. And I think that is the end of the race for Ryo Michigami. Not going to get any points from there. Basically, all he's going to do is damage a motor. And like in Formula One, they are limited on how many they can use. There's Girolami. Here's looking back from Norby. Somebody's blowing out oil smoke. Norby's camera very filmy there. It's not just a nice gelatin filter, a bit of Vaseline on the lens. Norby really feeling the pressure, isn't he, from the multiple Argentine champion.
The Volvo seems strong through the twisty bits. It's not straight line. I know he's...
Fastest lap of the race now from Ted Björk. And he is creeping away. Look, he's pulling everybody along behind him in the slipstream. He's still getting away from Thiago Montero. 1.2 seconds at the line last time. Let's see what it's opened out to this time. He was a full second quicker than Thiago on the last lap. It's gone from 1.18 to 1.32. So that's another quarter of a second in the back.
Look how even these two are matched. Mikulits and Girolami.
And there they are again. You could barely see the Volvo behind the Honda. He was so tight up under his back bumper. Yeah, somebody's definitely blowing oil out because there's a haze of it over Girolami's car as well. You know, when you see pictures of the old racing drivers, they take their goggles off, the face is black and their little panda eyes like Matt from The Sun yesterday. Well, that's because cars used to blow out oil all the time.
Oh!
Yeah, Kevin Gleeson got in just a fraction too hot, bounced over the curbs, lost the place there to Daniel Nudge that he had just taken on the straight. Pauline Spark watching Tom Coronel, her partner, battling for position. And here comes the Volvo. Oh, suddenly Norby's in real trouble, is he?
Yeah, could this be a Michigami engine related?
Whoa. Don't know. But suddenly, Nesta Girolami is seemingly a lot closer than he had been. Maybe Norby just made a mistake in the first of the Lesmos.
They are going to have these engines. I mean, horsepower is paramount, man, one of these, a circuit like Monza. So, and you know, it is driver controlled on what map, what anti-lag and everything you can run. So these boys are going to have them wound up to the max, especially if they're under pressure, just trying to break away and get some air. But is that putting the engines under unnecessary strain?
Well, they'll be turned up to 11 on the ometer, won't they? Ted Björk leads. Then, oh, Tom Chilton at the side of the road, and that does not look like the driver has made a mistake. Has he? Has he looped it into a spin? Maybe he has. There's Thiago Montero in second. Black car is Rob Huff in third. Now Huff second in race one behind Chilton. Third here as well would really help him, except again he's behind Montero. And you don't want to lose points to the same person every time, because you never are then going to catch him.
Yeah, Martin, if he's loosening his belts, then
he's out.
He can't leave that there. That's a safety car.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying at lunch that I didn't mention it in the first race. I veered away from it. I was talking to our safety car driver saying, we haven't even seen you this weekend. Safety car is coming out. So first time all weekend in all the racing we've had here, and qualifying and everything else, that the safety car has needed scrambling. So there is the Volvo Polestar safety car. Bruno Carrere We'll pick up the leaders at the end of this, which can then extend our race distance to 13 laps. What did Tom Chilton say to the team over the radio?
Something's exploded. I think it's gearbox. Drive shaft. Drive shaft broken, exploded. Race over. I think it's drive shaft anyway. Something's broken on the front end. Bad.
Very general description, wasn't it?
So to confirm, you've got no drive, yeah?
No drive, race over. Concentrating. Annoying. Second in the championship.
Well, we've seen a few punctures, we've seen broken suspension with drivers riding the curbs, and maybe that is another sign that these curbs are biting here in Monza, not just for the low-slung single-seaters, but for the touring cars as well.
Yeah, it's a shame for Chilton. He was obviously second in the championship, so it's going to knock his Yokohama Cup as well.
Yep. Well, as we were saying earlier on, anything he gets in race 2 is a Brucey bonus when he scored 25 points in race 1. There is Tom, having a little gulp of water from a friendly Marshall's car.
I still don't think he's going to go away from here disappointed, Martin. He's had a monumental weekend.
Yeah, but in your mind will be the fact that you could have got another 5, 10 points, 5 points even from race 2. Yeah, it's a drive shaft. You can hear it flapping away.
Not unless he's left it in gear.
No, because then it'd just be dragging the wheels, wouldn't you? You can hear it going clunk, clunk, clunk. Now, what are we looking at here?
Well, the Volvo out of position is what
Very slow start from Ria Michigami, almost as slow as Tom Coronel.
Montero has a fabulous start.
So Michigami barely moves.
And Michelin, both the Hondas are away well.
Yep. Esteban Guerrieri very late in actually picking the revs up and then released far too much wheel spin. And Air Lachey, I'm not sure how much start practice he's had in Lada, but Jan Air Lachey is becoming quite the little star. Good run into turn 1.
Norby got a bit of a nudge through there, but they're all incredibly well behaved. Oh, look at that, you can see the cats in there.
Yeah, that's in the
glowing red.
So safety car is out, race distance out to 12. It will go up to 13 laps at the end of this one. No safety car in this lap, so race distance should be 12 laps then. Tom Chilton's car was moving, but you could hear the clunk, clunk, clunk of the drive shaft or broken hub or whatever it was as it went round. It did sound like it spat a drive shaft, and that would suggest a clump on the curb. So while they're behind the safety car, everybody would turn everything back down to 0, and then it'll be back on to 11 as the safety car pulls in.
Just making sure the lights are still on, but...
Yeah, well, sector 2 ends there.
So the light should be going out.
Now, come on, Bruno, turn the lights off. That's the way it works. Excellent timing. Sector 2 is on the way into Ascari, so he's sending the wrong signs. Should have gone off before Ascari.
The lights are off now. Making sure the tyres are warm, making sure the brakes are warm.
Especially
arrive at that first chicane.
Especially for the top 3. Ted Bjerg, for Thiago Montero, and for the man we ride with, Rob Huff.
They're all going to be on their mettle because Bjerg's going to try and make a break here. He's going to try and catch them out.
And Katzberg and Michelitz and Girolami will all be trying to jump each other and jump. Huff's all over the back of Montero, and Ted Bjerg is gone already. And will they be able to catch him in the slipstream? No, not that distance on the straight, not this time round. He won't escape, he's not far away enough. And Huff can't get Honda.
He can't live with that Honda.
Goes. Well, clearly the Citroen is turning up to 12, because the Honda on 11 is
It must be the weight of the Citroen. It's the weight, the straight line weight.
Yellow flag at turn 10. Where's turn 10? Ascari? Really?
Well, Chilton's car was still being retrieved from there.
Well, why'd you bring the safety car in if it's still yellow?
Well,
somebody else has stopped. Michigami?
No, is that Daniel Nagy?
Oh, Daniel Nagy. Well, that was Michigami in the foreground just going past, wasn't it? Very slowly.
Michigami's obviously out.
Yeah, come back out of the pit. So Daniel Nagy's car has left front.
No, it's okay.
No. This looked like it was wobbling a lot. Yellow flags are out, so Ted Björk won't know what to make of this. They'll be on the radio to him saying, don't worry, car's off the side of the track, but it is yellow at Ascari. And hopefully everybody will be telling everybody Coronel out into the gravel traps at the exit of the Lesmos. And here comes Aurélien Panis. Panis looking for 11th place from Coronel. John Philippe's already gone by the Dutchman to go into the points for 10th. Yellow flags are still out. Green here though at the next marshal's post. Exiting turn 10. So Ted Björk was 4/10 ahead across the line. That's a bigger than 4/10 margin at the moment, but Thiago Monteiro with Rob Huff behind. And Huff, you sense, maybe a little frustrated and waiting desperately for weight to come on to the Volvos and the Hondas.
Well, there's a revision on the weight, which is after this round before Hungary. So that should even things up a long way.
Ted Björk leads, squirrely under braking, really trying to stay out of the clutches of Thiago Monteiro. And he'd gone from 0.4 to 1.1 clear on the last lap. Here's Coronel running out. What a big slide mid-corner in the Lesmos.
Turned in, not short on commitment through there, did he?
No. Like I said at the beginning of the race, may not have much in terms of tyre for race 2, having started on pole for race 1. I think perhaps that was an indication that the tyre has now gone, okay, that's it, I'm done now. Norbert Michaelis, car number 5, position number 5 for him. First the red, white and green Hondas is Thiago Monteiro, who is now the Esteban Guerrieri of race 2, isn't he? He's the stopper in the bottle behind the race leader.
Yeah, and then you got Nobby back in the Volvo sandwich, so he's not only got to try and attack, he's got to defend at the same time.
If Rob Huff had fresh tyres on at the beginning of the race, they'll be a little fresher than everybody else's, but no real bite edge left to them. Perhaps right at the end of the race, as we've now got another lap to do as well, because the safety car, he might have a bit more than Thiago. But again, for Huffy, 2nd and 3rd, not a bad score. If only Thiago wasn't in front of him in this race, it would be better.
York's gone now, isn't he?
Yeah. York went from 0.4 in front to 1.1 in front, and I'm suggesting that's going to be more like 1.6 at the end of this lap. Looks like he's pulled out another half second on Thiago Monteiro. That gap is starting to really grow fast. Ted Björk still not within 7/10 of his fastest lap. Looking back from Esteban Guerrieri, here comes Yann Erlaché. He's in hunter-killer mode. Ted Björk, by the way, 1.6 now ahead of Thiago Monteiro.
Yeah, I reckon he'll be starting to drive it on his mirrors, just watching what the others are doing behind as much, and just not trying to take too much curb, especially with Girolami's suspension failure in race 1. Not trying to kill the tyres, because in history we've seen tyres go at the last corner, before the last corner, in the last corner, and after the last corner.
We've seen top 2 lose a race battle out of Ascari on the final lap.
As opposed to the next 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6, who will give it full bananas, everything.
Yeah.
Monteiro's obviously got to think of championship. He's leading the championship, 2nd place. Compound that, you know, he could walk away here with...
Hey, and listen, in the end, if Rob gets by him, 2nd or 3rd, still big money for Thiago, still a big result.
Strong points for Honda, you know, strong points for himself. He could walk away here with thick end of a 20-point lead. He's
looking at 2 podium finishes here in Monza, the circuit of all circuits where they thought they were going to be at the biggest disadvantage. It's a big weekend for Thiago. Two relatively raw newcomers to the championship. In terms of overall experience, Guerrieri hardly raw, but Yann Erlaché much more limited experience, and now Rob Huff starting to think, okay, Thiago, you're done, I've got more. Let me lead, let me get by, let me try and catch the Volvo.
He's looking, he just can't manage to make it stick.
Yeah.
That Honda's got so much squirt.
As you say, he gets left out of the corners, Rob Huff, and then he has to brake, can't brake any later than the Honda going in. Katzberg lining up, beg your pardon, Girolami lining up Michelitz in the background. Again, Girolami's been in this position before, and again, Norby straight down the middle of the road.
It's amazing, like, because the Honda's ace card here has been their Achilles heel for how many years here?
I know. It's the body shape. It's that hatchback body that drags a big, turbulent airstream behind it.
I mean, they said at Marrakesh that the drivers felt the engine upgrade immediately, but it must have been pretty dramatic.
Well, how many times at Marrakesh do they get to full noise in top gear? Not many. Here, like every straight. Absolutely every straight. They're going running right up to the limiter. But as said, in qualifying, the fastest car through any of the speed traps was Thiago Montero's Honda.
Yeah.
163 kilometers an hour.
No,
263.
Yeah.
160 odd miles an hour.
164 mile an hour.
Yeah. So a very, very good upgrade from the Honda people. And, Honda and Mugen done a really solid job. And it's come with, it seems, reliability as well. Rio Michigami okay, whatever the issue is, certainly doesn't appear to be affecting either Thiago Montero or Norbert Michelis at this stage. What might affect Thiago is Rob Huff. Matt, if you're Thiago and Rob comes calling and sends it on the last lap, you're just going to open the steering and let him go, aren't you?
He's only got to hold on 2 laps, Martin. You know, he can position that car very carefully. If you've got straight line round Monza, you've got a strong car.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And Ted Björk does as well. He's gone from 0.4 after the restart to 2.4 seconds clear of Thiago Montero onto the last lap of the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. Ted Björk could rack up his second win for Volvo. Thiago Montero, Rob Huff, that's the question. Who's going to finish where on the podium? Will it all fall into the lap of Nicky Katzberg? Katzberg not a factor in this race. And now, look at this, John Philippi on the tail of Jan Erlaché, and they are bottled up behind Esteban Guerrieri, who 2 laps from the end of race 1 was looking at 3rd place. So Guerrieri and that Campos Racing Chevrolet, very fleet of foot. Rio Michigami out early on, Tom Chilton part, Daniel Ladd part, Kevin Gleeson battling with Aurelian Panis. Panis is eased away from him at the tail of the field. There's your leader, Ted Björk. Here's your battle for second. Montero ahead of the black car of Huffman. Girolami's blue Volvo again. Matt, more in hope than anticipation of anything happening there, showing his nose deep on the inside between the Lesmos.
You know, looking at it now, Martin, you've got to say both the Castrol cars, both the Castrol Hondas are struggling now. They just seem to be on the back foot. They're the cork in both the bottles.
Yep, but you've got a mile and a half to go. Get on with it, a mile to go. Out of Ascari, one more potential overtaking opportunity for Rob Huff. But again, watch the Honda start to pull away.
Yeah.
And once he starts opening that gap out of Ascari, you can't close it under braking if your car is heavier.
Michelin's behind.
He is, and Norby's just painting it down the inside. Girolami's going to send it long way round the outside in a parabolica. It's a very long way round. Wheel to wheel, there's the drag race. Ted Björk is going to win for Volvo. Second is going to be Thiago Montero. Third, Rob Huff. Fourth, Nicky Katzberg. Fifth is going to be a photo finish. It is Michelis Girolami by...
Oh, Girolami
Michelis by 1,000th of a second. 1,000th of a second. Wow.
1,000th of a second, that's where you put your beacon in the car, isn't it?
Closest ever victory in Monza. 1,000th of a second in Formula One, and that was Peter Gethin in a BRM, beat Ronnie Peterson by 1,000th of a second, the closest ever Formula One race, where the top 5 was separated by 0.6 of a second back in 1971. And there's that margin again, 1,000th of a second. And yes, that might be how far forward or backward your timing beacon is when it gets to the line. That was a genuine photo finish. Let's hear from Rob Huff, who finished third.
Well done, boys. P3, good weekend. Well done, boys. Well done. Very good, Rob. Very good. Bravo.
The Munich Motorsport boys looking very happy with that. There's Ivan Muller and Polestar Volvo Cyan Racing. They've done another good job. Ted Björk victorious, Nicky Katzberg 4th, Nesta Girolami 5th. Big points for Volvo. You saw the big smile of the man in the headset, Ronnie Hartfelt, the head of engineering formerly at RML Chevrolet. And there's Ivan Muller giving a big hug to Ted Björk.
I saw Ivan earlier and I said, I haven't seen you see this relaxed in a long time, in a decade, and he just started laughing. A big grin on his face.
Years.
Yeah, ever.
Yeah. He is loving life at the moment, Ivan Muller. Genuinely is. Is he missing racing? Yes, of course he is. Is he loving his life at the moment? Yes, absolutely he is. And Tom Chilton, all right, a little disappointed not to finish race 2, but an outright win in race 1. Take that every time. Let's hear then from our main race winner, Volvo's Ted Björk.
A great feeling. He just said, congratulations, Ted Björk. What a win, what a race. Well done.
Thank you. It felt just absolutely fantastic. So I had so much speed in my car, but Thiago as well. But I took advantage of a small mistake from him and just could fly away.
Talk us through the race. There must have been a lot of pressure on your shoulders.
Yeah. But then I remember what I like the most about racing is to be standing on pole position in front with no other cars, just a free track and just go. So I just need to practice some on the starting so I don't lose a place there. But it was just a great feeling sitting in the car, free track, just go.
More well-earned points not only for you, but also for your team. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. Happy Bunny. And doubly happy, Matt Neal, because not only does he win and close on Thiago Monteiro and Tom Chilton ahead of him, but also beats all his teammates. And if a Volvo driver is going to win this year's championship, you don't want it to be one of them. Well, you know, with no disrespect or no love lost or anything else, you know, if one of your team is going to win, you always want it to be you.
You want it to be you when you get to the point in the season where suddenly they have to start focusing.
Yeah.
And it will come a point. And at the moment, he's strong. He's come up with the results, you know, and he's there. He's hunting Monteiro on the points tally.
So Ted Björk the winner, Thiago Monteiro in second place. The championship lead will remain in his hands. Rob Huff, second race 1, third race 2. That's the sort of weekend that he needs every weekend. He could do with Björk and Monteiro not being ahead of him, but take what you can get out of this. Tom Chilton, Rio Michigami, Daniel Nudge having a great second race, but first win of the year for Polestar Cyan Racing. The Volvo victorious here. 4 races in, we've had a win for a Chevy, a win for a Honda, a win for a Citroën, and now a win for a Volvo. Ted Björk signing the guest's book, winner's book. Nice little tradition here. I wonder how many other names you recognise if you file back through that book and all the other ones they've kept here. What a nice idea. Thiago Monteiro leads from Ted Björk, 13 points in it. Nicky Katzberg up to 3rd, Norby 4th. Tom Chilton tied with Rob Huff now for 5th position in the championship. So lots of changes going on there. Kevin Gleeson and Jan Erlaché, the RC Motorsport Lada drivers, on 2 points each. Ivan's daughter, and Justine, his partner, delighted with that. Ted Bjerg really, really happy, isn't he, with his victory here in Monza, and why wouldn't you be? In the Yokohama Trophy, or beg your pardon, the WTCC Trophy, Rob Huff, the leader from Tom Chilton by a single point after Chilton retired in race 1. Esteban Guerrieri up to 3rd, ahead of last year's champion Mehdi Benani. Tom Coronel in 5th spot. So all sorts of changes going on in that as well. Lots of shuffling of the deck, and hopefully there'll be lots more of that going on. Nobody getting a real break in the championship, either in the outright championship race or in the WCC Trophy. Manufacturer standings, though, Volvo did see clear air opening up behind them. They are now 12 points ahead of Honda, having been only 2 points ahead coming into the weekend. The gap has opened, closed, and now opened up again. So warm day of racing here for the World Touring Car Championship. We've had 2 races from the European Touring Car Cup as well. Formula 3 Euro Series on the card. They've got their final encounter of the day still to come. But for the World Touring Car Championship, we are now completed with the action here. Waiting for Tiago Monteiro to arrive before we can start the podium ceremonies and move on in a fortnight's time to the Hungaro ring. So will Norbert Mikulec be able to fight back strongly there? He's had mixed fortunes, it's fair to say, in Hungary. He's won there, and he's also seen it all turn into a cloud of smoke there under him.
In Monza.
So let's
Please
see
welcome
whether
onto the podium,
it will
in
favour
third
him
position
going to his
from
home
All-Cool
track.
Munich Motorsport, it's Rob Huff.
Rob Huff takes 3rd place. The Munich Motorsport Citroën single car team. Car brand new to them.
In 2nd position from Castrol Honda World Touring Car Team, it's Tiago Monteiro.
Tiago Monteiro got the lead early on. Mistake in Variante Ascari allowed Ted Bjerg to get back past him.
And the opening race of the main race here in Italy from Polestar Cyan Racing is Ted Bjerg.
Ted Bjerg lost the lead away from the grid to the faster starting Honda. They will address that undoubtedly.
And your WTCC
but it ended
Trophy
out
winner
very
is
nicely.
already on the podium. It's Rob Huff.
So Ted Bjerg, the race winner,
Winning
4th different winner
manufacturer
this
is
season.
Polestar Cyan Racing's Alexander Majewski.
Alexander Majewski, the boss of Polestar Cyan Racing.
And now the anthem for Ted Bjerg and Polestar Cyan Racing. Presenting the trophy to our 3rd position driver, Rob
Just the
Huff,
one anthem then, because the Swedish anthem neatly covers both driver and constructor. And Rob Huff takes the 3rd place trophy.
Presenting our 2nd position trophy to Tiago Monteiro is Veronique Campbell, Oscaro co-founder.
2nd place for Tiago Monteiro, and again, strong weekend for him. Win when you can, take maximum points when you can't. I would have thought perhaps that a win was on the cards here.
Luigi, Oscaro, CEO and founder.
And our title sponsor hands the trophy to race winner Ted Bjerg. 2nd career World Touring Car victory for Ted Bjerg. And for Volvo,
Enrico Ranieri, Councillor of the Automobile Club Milano, will present the trophy to our WTCC trophy winner, Rob Huff.
And Huff with double bubble, moving right up in the driver's standings and into the lead of the WTCC trophy for independent drivers.
And Piero Lorenzo Zanchi, the president of Autodromo Nazionale Monza, will present the winning manufacturer's trophy to Polestar Cyan Racing.
Do you know, it's always a delight to come back to Monza. Never disappoints. It's one of those great tracks like Spa, like Silverstone
Also,
perhaps,
a beautiful grid girl,
that is
Sarah,
a legendary
will
track
present the
because
prize
it
for the
produces
best lap
stunning
trophy to
racing.
Ted Björk from Polestar Cyan Racing.
Ted Björk gets the Brucey bonus of a very nice Tag Heuer watch for setting the fastest race lap of the weekend. Can't argue with that. So Rob Huff's got an armful of those.
Congratulations, boys. Welcome.
What's that they're playing? It's Raining Men.
Together for your official photograph.
So a chance for the photographers to get our top 3 from the main race. And that is it from Monza. In 2 weeks' time, we rejoin battle in Hungary. But for now, from all of us here, arrivederci and goodbye.